Dr. Pushpa, are we ready to start?
Yes, sir.
Should we start? Am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are audible, Natasha. We can start now.
A very good morning, everyone. I am Mitaksha Chatterjee, your moderator for today's session. I welcome you all to a very special session on the subject of practical aspect of strategy implementation. This session has been organized by JIMS Engineering Management Technical Campus, supervised by Professor Dr. Pallavi Gupta. Our resource person for today's session is Dr. Atul Kumar, Director Deloitte. A very good morning, sir. Sir joined Indian Army at the age of 19. He has tenanted varied regimental, staff, and operational assignments, including experiences of Operation Rakshak in Punjab, Operation Rhino in Assam, Operation Vijay in Kargil, and Operation Orchid in Nagaland in his course of 31 years of services. He was trained for bomb disposal and also served with para commandos for 2 years. He is a pioneer of IT and ITES initiatives in the Army and was program director for the 5-year successful SAP implementation in India's defense forces. Sir has done Masters in Science, Computer and Business Administration and doctorate in strategic studies for prestigious institutes like Defense Services Staff College, IIT Delhi, Institute of Management and Technology, CDAC, and College of Material Management, amongst others. In fact, Sir was awarded Vice Chief of Army Staff Commendation in 2007 and Chief of Army Staff Commendation in 2018 for his meritorious services. He was also adjudged Outstanding Officers for the year 2007 in Army. His hobbies include reading and writing. Articles written by Sir have been awarded and published in various journals. His articles on fourth party logistics and ERP in Army were awarded in 2003, 10, and 18. He likes to share his experiences and is a visiting faculty for IIM Bangalore and CMM Jabalpur. After he retires from the Army, he is currently employed with Deloitte India as Director Enterprise Technology and Performances. Sir handles large digital transformation projects for clients in India and abroad. We are highly obliged, sir, by your presence, and it's an honor to have you here. Thank you so much, sir, for sparing time from your gruesome schedule. Before starting the session, I would like to hand over the mic to respected Professor Dr. N.K. Bahal, sir, for his warm greetings and blessings.
Thank you, Mitaksha. Honorable Chairman, Dr. Amit Gupta, sir. Campus Director, Dr. R.K. Raghuvanshi, sir. Principal, Gemtech School of Law, Dr. Pallavi Gupta, ma'am. Faculty Coordinator, Dr. Shishma Kushwa, Gemtech School of Law. Student Coordinators, Shivam Tiwari and Saurabh Guha. My dear faculty members and dear students, I, Dr. N.K. Bahal, Professor of Law at Gemtech School of Law, Greater Noida, on behalf of Gemtech family and on my own behalf, heartily welcome Colonel Dr. Atul Kumar, Founder Director of Deloitte India. Sir, it's my privilege to welcome you. We are really delighted to welcome Colonel Dr. Atul sir. Dr. Sir was awarded Vice Chief of Army Commendation in 2007 and Chief of Army Staff Commendation in 2018. Congratulations to you, sir, from Gemtech family. At the same time, we are happy to know that Colonel Dr. Atul Kumar has an army background and he is pioneer of IT initiatives in the army. Sir is an expert in bomb disposal and has earned expertise in IT laws also. Sir has obtained master degree in science, computers and business administration and doctorate in strategic studies. He has written several articles on important topics. Few of them were awarded also. We once again welcome you, Dr. Atul sir, to GemTech School of Law, Greater Noida, and we will invite you in our campus again once this pandemic of COVID-19 is over. We thank you so much for accepting our invitation, sir. Dear participants, today's topic, practical aspect of strategy implementation, is very interesting. Sir, our students and faculty members are keen to listen you on today's interesting subject. You are once again welcome to the family of GEMS. Over to moderator Mitaksha Chatterjee, please.
Thank you so much, sir. In today's session, we will be learning about the insights of implementation strategy and the practical problems which we face while implementing the strategies, as execution is more difficult than the formulation of strategy. All these points will be explained by Dr. Atul Kumar. So now I hand over the mic to sir. Over to you, sir. Please enlighten us.
Thank you so much. I am really humbled with such fine words from all of you. Thank you, Meenakshi. Very good morning to all of you. I'm really delighted to be here with all of you today and really thankful to the management for giving me this opportunity to speak to the generation next. I hope all of you are safe, happy, healthy, and all your extended families are also in the same, especially in these times of COVID. Please do take care. Today we shall talk about our practical aspects of strategy implementation. So let me share my screen with you. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Great. Great. So let's hit the ground. Before we actually get down to some fundamentals, I thought I'll ask a small question to everyone, just to remind, what do you call a marketing strategy? Okay, call it advertisement, right? Then what do we call a pessimistic marketing strategy? We call it subtractivization. Okay, so having hopefully a smile on your face, let me get down to some serious business. So we start with the very first quote from famous management guru Peter Drucker. What does it say? It says that commodity is a strategy is a commodity, while execution is an art. We are calling it a strategy as a commodity and execution as an art. So what is this commodity? Well, this and many other famous quotes by experts are unanimous on one. It is reasonably easy to strategize as compared to actual execution of it. You know, world over, more than 2/3 of the strategies they fail to get into, and it is mainly due to poor or lack of art of implementation. So what is this strategy about? So see, the business context of any organization is an ever-changing environment. It could be a modified law. It could be an innovative technology in the market. It could be a new behavior of people or customers that the organizations find themselves in different settings, and therefore they need to react. And when they react, this itself results in a change of strategy. Now, this strategic change is vital because it helps to retain or gain a competitive advantage in the altered business environment. let's take an example of today's COVID pandemic. In such a scenario, it has really necessitated that a lot of strategies have been generated by business leaders to overcome the disruption that it has caused. Maybe one such strategy we can talk about is the digital transformations in most of the companies, especially in the domain of supply chain. We'll talk about it a little later on this. Let's go down to the next slide, where I'm basically trying to talk about where does the strategy implementation sit or fit in into the whole complete strategic management field. Look at this slide. You know, the leading to a strategy formula. This is where the blocks that you see of strategy monitoring and the SWOT as the strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat, subsets of the strategy implementation. However, at corporate level, we can list them separately as well, because a corporate level strategy may lead to one or more business strategies or sub strategies, which further go down to functional tactic or tactical steps. Let us see an example. There might be a cinema corporation, say PVR, right? And they want to get into a strategy of corporate level strategy of achieving, say, 15% annual growth and diversifying into some more consumer oriented products or services, which will accrue out of the additional cash flow that will come from this additional annual. This corporate strategy actually will flow down to business strategies of, say, expanding business by movie exhibition, soft drink bottle marketing development, or any such product development as a business strategy. However, when we get down to the next step of functional tactical steps, they would be more compartmentalized to departments like marketing. Marketing, they would be seeking maybe some more, crowd interesting movies, or something, focusing on reducing the expenditures by going for lease agreements rather than going the balls. And the operation then the single screen. So what I'm trying to say, at the corporate level, the strategy will get down to different business strategies, and then ultimately at the next step, strategy is basically a set of choices that we have. While implementation is the actual right actions that we need to take to achieve the end state, which is the wishful thinking of the leaders. Let's go to our day-to-day lives and see how it correlates to our lives on day-to-day. Say on a very fine day morning, you decide to go shopping for clothes. You have option to go to Indians Mall, you can go to Connaught Place, you can go to some day-to-day stuff at reasonable price, which is the okay. So you decide to go to several clothes of original things from several retailers. Now comes the implementation. You need to have come to the end state of getting home. You will take certain action. First thing that you will also find out if the market is open today. Then you decide whether you go on a bike car or you take a metro. Then you take a friend along. You also make a list of items that you want to buy: 2 t-shirts, 1 trouser, 1 track pant or something. Then en route, you do check your cash and card, whether you're carrying it or not. Otherwise, you reach Sarojinagar, you find it is closed for the day. Or when you reach there, you'll find you are falling short of cash and there's no ATM. You also select a route to reach the market fastest and park your car or a bike. You decide which route to take in Sarojinagar, clockwise or anti-clockwise, which side are the shops that I want to buy. You also tell your friend to keep looking for the items. And finally, you buy your stuff and get back. Now, do you realize that when I spoke about the strategy, it was over in say 10 seconds. But when we started talking about implementing that aim, that strategy, it took some more time. There were a lot of checks and balances in between. There were reviews in between. That's exactly something what happens in a grander scale in more complex organization strategies. So this is one question which normally the experts they ask a lot of leaders in any organization or during the training sessions. Which one would you prefer? A good strategy implemented not so well, or a not so good strategy or a bad strategy implemented very well? So most of the leaders, when they get into this training session, they prefer option A. They have a logic. They say, okay, well, I've created a wonderful strategy. It will lead to my goal. It is well directed. And I can always take course corrections if it is failing in between, right? So option A is the answer. But maybe the answer is B. Because if you have the organizational structure and the culture in place, the discipline and commitment of people in place, and you are able to review and reinforce measures in time, even a not so good strategy implemented well can be refined without cost and time overruns, and you can achieve your goal. So I've used certain words like culture, discipline, review. I'm sure you all have read about these in your theory classes on strategy implementation. We'll talk about these things. Sorry, do I have a question? Okay. So we'll talk about these things in some more details as we go further. So what is the problem statement? So the problem statement is how do we successfully implement a strategy in our organization? And we can subdivide it into questions of which are the most relevant factors, which are the likely challenges, and what are going to be the possible solutions to overcome these challenges. Okay. So I'll take a slight 1 second pause and seek the guidance of Dr. Pushpa. Do we take any questions in between, or we wait for the end for any queries that might be?
So we will be taking the questions at the end.
All right, all right. And in my suggestion to the audience would be, in case they have a query or you may maybe put on a chat box if it's there, and we can then compile at the end.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So let's continue. So now we'll little deep dive into the subject. Now you can see that implementing a strategy has basically 3 components. There's the strategy itself, the organizational structure, and the behavior of the people who comprise this organization. I'm sure you have heard of this, that every organization is made up of 3 P's: people, processes, and the product. Most important, please mind you, is the people. They are the ones who can make or break any strategy. They can really get down to whether improving a process or product or inflating the goal. Now, since we are implementing a strategy, it is obvious that a well-formulated and a planned strategy with consensus of all stakeholders is more likely to succeed. It's pretty logical, right? So a good strategy must be consistent, clearly articulated, and should have measurable outcomes. Thank you for the music. At least it has put some color in the serious talk that I'm doing, right? Okay, so we talk about this. Say there's a digital strategy, digital transformation strategy, which we are undertaking in a supply chain organization. So what could be the quantified goal? It's like reduction by 15% in inventory holding cost. You can do it by automated planning and procurement. You can also have reduction in issue time check, that is order to delivery time, placement from order placement to shipment, from say 7 days to 3 days. This you can do with some ERP solutions with certain modules deployed. So consensus, proper planning, and formulation of strategy, it's still with the start point. And in consensus, it is extremely important at this stage. If the people who are going to execute this strategy and get impacted are not on board as an issue, the strategy is most likely to face more challenges. In Ministry of Defense, we were implementing SAP for the complete supply chain. So the direction from the top was very clear. Automate complete supply chain operations at enterprise level. The stakeholders, they included right from defense secretary on top to all the military persons, civilian employees in the depots, to associated organizations like DRDO, DGQA, CGDA, and even the field units who are the actual user of inventory. So what we did do, we created a 3-tier organization with defense secretary at the top, additional secretary at the second level, and third level at the level of a brigadier, where we represented every organization's member to be part of those committees or those organizations. We also held large number of workshops in the initial stages only to, even before we finally made the the complete milestone-based roadmap, thereby incorporating maximum possible aspirations of the people in the strategy formulation stage itself. It helped a lot during execution because these people became our change agents on ground. They helped us in acceptance by the users. Okay, coming to the second block in the slide, where are we implementing this strategy? We are implementing in our organization, right? So our organization structure is a major component in the complete smooth implementation of any strategy. You may have inter-department rivalries. There might be tension between the two managers for career progression related issues. There could be physical or geographical barriers. One plant in Maharashtra, one in Punjab of an organization. So these cross-functional challenges need to be managed and actually made redundant. That's what I'm trying to talk about, coordination and control. So a structure which is put in place for strategy, which I shall talk to later, will be able to handle this part. We also need resources when we have to implement a strategy. It could be financial resources, human resources, physical resources. In fact, it can become a decision at the time of strategic formulation. So the reasonableness and availability of these resources, then implementation will obviously hit a road. Say you do not have IT qualified staff to implement the ERP initiative in your organization. So what do? You either train your staff or you need to outsource it to the people who know this job. Similarly, if availability of adequate funds is not made available at every milestone, say you are embarking on a concerted ad campaign for your new product. If funds are not made available by the finance team, how is the marketing team going to reach the target audience? So, resources availability, planning and making them available is extremely important. Or towards the common goal is quite, missed out in the whole game is communication of strategy to the organization for a common understanding at all. Quite often you will see, launch of a new strategy, sound effects and everything, giving out, over a working business lunch, what is going to be the next strategy for the following financial year. And thereafter, what happens? There's maybe a communication breakdown. Within 2-3 months, everyone is busy in their day-to-day jobs, and the activities which were required to work on this strategy take a back burner. Mind you, everyone has got their day-to-day jobs to do, and it becomes literally extra effort for them to do certain activities which will help in getting this strategy in place. You can have a automation initiative happening. So while a team is working on the software and data centrally at one location, the actual users who are going to be impacted and going to be the users of that system in far off locations just do not know what's happening. They are not involved in the development and the testing phase. So what happens when the result is, when actually it is rolled out, nobody accepts it. They are unable to work on it. So to give you an example as to how we overcame that in the Ministry of Defense initiative I spoke about. So in there we had a system of monthly newsletters going to every location. Every month, first of the month, we used to take out a colorful, attractive newsletter of 2, 3, 4 pages, giving out what is happening, what is going to happen. So giving out some minor quiz in that, telling the unit heads to give rewards to people who gave correct answers. In sufficient number, these newsletters were floated. On a quarterly basis, we were also writing demi-official letters to the head of the units and apprising them what is being done and what is expected out of them. In addition, we had another concept which was different. We started a radio concept called Tusker Radio. Now, what was that Tusker Radio? We created a CD of some good songs for 4-5 hours of worth of listening of songs, and intersperse that with messages related to the initiative that we were doing. So it was like radio, where you have advertisements coming after every song in a good voice, and we gave the CDs to all the units. So in all the units, they had workplaces, the relaxation areas, the offices resting areas, and the offices per se, where so in the central PA system, the CD was played every day. So this, other than listening to the music, people were also getting informed during those ad breaks about the initiative that we were talking about. And we also gave them, the diaries, the planners, the pen and the paperweight with the emblems of this initiative. So we were hitting them by eyes, by ears, by information. We were communicating constantly so that they always felt connected to the strategy and never was a break between the planners, executioners, and the end users. Another point I want to make here is upward honest communication also needs to be encouraged. It's not always top-down information that needs to flow. The upward communication is extremely important towards refining and realigning the strategies. In case you guys know about total quality management, in GQM, we use something called quality circles for similar flow of ideas and opinions towards management. Some of them actually become policies. Now, finally, in this slide, you see behavior. This is also extremely important. We have leaders and we have managers. It's a subject by itself about the leader and who's the boss. But leaders also, quite often make mistakes of repeating the previous mistakes that they have done, because they think that they know, they are the experienced guys, and what they're saying is the correct. And if it is always top down, then it is, or in isolation, then it is also a problem. Einstein famously said once, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So leaders also need to think and behave in a manner that will contribute to reaching the success or the goal that we have set for ourselves. Next point is about the commitment of the people and culture of working in the organization, which plays an important part. If the organization lacks the discipline, then even a brilliant strategy will also fail. Because the people who have to take the actions will either not take the action, or they'll take it half-heartedly, or they will make some errors. Resistance to change is inevitable, but the competency of the leadership, therefore, assumes a big role by setting the context and in the change management. I'll talk about change management also a little bit after this. Little bit more. Like in Deloitte today, we have this COVID situation in the country. So we have decided that we will have a drive to get every employee and their family vaccinated on our own. Now, this strategy of inoculation of all employees in the families needed a lot of commitment and discipline right from top to bottom. Communicating to everyone, taking out the fear from mind of people. We all working from home, not going to office. So somebody has to go to office, get inoculated, take his or her parents also there. So there are restrictions, there are existing scenarios, the non-availability of doses, large spread of offices across the country. But the culture of Deloitte is pretty, like an extended family. Leaders here, they take the leading role, right from CEO's town hall. We have had a number of such interactions, talking to people through webinars, sending emails continuously. We have created informal groups. So one partner is taking care of 10, 20 people, one director taking care of 20, 30 people. And we've also taken IT initiatives, created a COVID portal. So the culture of the organization has literally made almost an impossible task succeed. It's running beautifully. More or less, everyone is getting vaccinated, irrespective of the government or the private thing. And it's all on the hub, no payments. So if strategy, structure, and behavior within the organization, if we are able to manage this, we will have the successful implementation happening. And please remember, the customers only see the result of the implemented strategy. They don't see the implementation itself. They see the end result. So what should we do? Firstly, we need to, and most importantly, it should be practical and implementable. Imagine, planning to increase the sales volume by 100% in one financial. Or, somebody saying, okay, we'll diversify to areas which are not even in our scheme of things normally. A FMCG company trying to diversify to say rare earth mining. I mean, it is not going to succeed. Then you obviously have to ensure that you have resources available and allocated. If you do not have, please outsource them. In Ministry of Defense, when we were implementing SAP, obviously none of us were trained to implement a SAP of that size. About 600 locations, 3 data centers creation, about 26,000 SAP users, 27,000 line software, data running into how many terabytes, and all kind of security overlays because of the Ministry of Defense. So we outsourced it. We hired a company to do it for us while we provided the core of the domain. Later, obviously, we all got trained and we in fact became the IT centers for the complete initiative ourselves. And the system integrator will very soon exit. Communication, as I'll again re-emphasize this point, is extremely important to create awareness. That is most essential. And this has to be forceful, appealing, and recurring every time, now and then. There is likely of some restructuring of departments or units also taking place as part of this strategy. So we should be prepared for that. There would be different roles created. Some roles may get discontinued. Some may get reassigned. So there will be a change of skill set for people, training them and ensuring that they accept it is a challenge. For donkeys, yes, I've been doing one thing with one way. For me to say, okay, you will do this activity henceforth like this, there might be a business process re-engineering involved. So it is going to be a challenge. And that's where the culture of the company comes into play. And the senior and the middle level management need to get involved and even alter the culture to an effect that, by personal example, by discussions, by getting into consensus, and some reinforcement measures. When we did a survey at the beginning of this initiative in Ministry of Defense, we tried to map as a matrix, the high risk units, high risk groups, who will be more resistant and who will be more pliable, which are the units where it is easier than others, and where the ones where there's a showstopper kind of a thing. To my surprise, when I saw the report, the senior most level was really aligned to the strategy and the whole initiative. The lower level, including the so-called unions of the civil defense employees, were not under Army Act, you can make it about it. It was the middle level, junior level officers and the middle level officers who were pretty reluctant about it. So I took it up that way that we started focusing on this group of people to align them positively towards the change, because we already had from the top and the bottom that alignment already there. So we had to kind of create that culture of pushing, pulling, and cajoling the middle level officers to understand and accept that there's going to be a change. And this is the where what I spoke earlier about a strategy management organization is probably an option, which can act as a nerve center for the whole thing. You create a special, strategy management office, which oversees, controls, coordinates the issues between various departments, various people, personalities, and even take help from external consultants in staffing. As I told you, we had created a project team, and we took out certain action plans, which can be, become mini strategies, and they can be phased out. That is important. You cannot do everything in a big bang approach. It doesn't work in most of the cases. I am reminded of that ad used to come, LED bulb. Probably change bulb one at
So
a time.
sorry to interrupt.
Every
You're not audible properly.
Is it?
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
Since when?
There's a little glitch in the voice.
Okay. Now am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do I repeat something or
Yes, sir, from that particular advertisement.
advertisement? All right. All right. So this advertisement I was talking about, just like, little bit in mild humor, that this man goes to buy LED bulbs in a shop, and instead of buying one or two, he buys 20. And when the shopkeeper says, "Itne ka kya karega?" He says, "मैं सारे घर के बदल डालूंगा." So the Big Bang approach may not work every time. Even this man has to go and change one bulb at a time in each room. So you need to phase out your action plans also, which themselves can become mini projects by itself. And having a governance built around to review the progress and measure the success needs to be instituted. When you are changing a process or when you're doing something, even your terms of measurement need to change. Typically, you will have a weekly cadence call at managerial level, daily updates coming, or monthly or quarterly review with leadership. Only thing to be, conscious about it, it should not become an additional burden that I have to prepare additional Excel sheets, presentations. One of the biggest time wasters apart from the phone call is the conferences, as I call it, meetings. You continue talking for 2 hours and you come out with the result maybe for only 10 minutes. So these cadence calls should not become a time waster or monotonous. One should be able to quickly standing update, give it something, or have a dashboard where people update and you get results. Like we use a particular automated tool called project management system, where the dashboard is updated based on progress from various departments. And in the cadence call, you see on a dashboard with figures and the different kind of bar charts and all, with color codes. Green is everything is fine, using amber color for giving a warning, and red which is lagging behind. So that kind of cadence and governance is also very important. How we do it in terms of quickly getting the information, giving a quick decision and moving on, rather than this itself becoming a project of giving updates to manage. Okay, I'll take a step back here and talk about this, emphasize maybe more on the people factor in the whole game. Let's be very clear and absolutely crystal about this, that it is your teams, it is your people, it is your employees who are going to make the strategy work. Neither the strategy itself nor the most brilliant strategies have failed, people have supported. Change management, as I said earlier, will be the prime focus when we are implementing strategy. One of the tools of change management based on Prosai, a use-based company, is a model called ADKAR. I'm sure quite a few would be already familiar with this. Starting with awareness right from the beginning of the project, encouraging the desire. What is in it for me? That employee will ask, what is in it for me? How will it change my life, my image, my career progression? How will it help me? Imparting this knowledge to those people by continuous training and encouragement. Providing opportunities to demonstrate that skill and be part of the process, be good about it, feel important about it, and be part of, voluntarily be happy doing all the tactical steps that need to be done. And finally, reinforcing the change, by way of motivation. Not necessarily cash incentives only, though that is a big part, bonuses and appraisals and everything. At times even negative motivation works. You ask any army person about disobedience of orders and what happens to him, you will know how negative motivation works there. Okay, now let me take you through a case study. We all know Maggie 2-minute noodles. What happened recently when the statutory authorities in India, they put a ban on Maggie noodles. Excessive lead was supposedly found in this product, and they said this is not good for Indian consumers. So after whatever legal battle went through, the global CEO of Nestle, he said earliest with similar or much more market share. And this was the corporate strategy set by the leader. Based on this, the MD of Nestle India started activities of seeking ideas and feedback from employees. He sent them email and asked the responses. They have even created a web page designed for this purpose. So, they got the consensus, made the employees aware we are coming back. Let us see how we can come back. Then they created a proper action plan with clear objectives, and they allocated resources, including funds for say ad campaign, reaching out to loyal consumers, legal issue coverage. They said we are okay, we have got the clearance, those kind of things. And they even aligned the complete, as I said, marketing budget for the same. So this was the formulation of plan and resource allocation. Then they started on a print and visual media ad campaign. They highlighted, we are back, your Maggie is safe. They started recording how many hits these websites were taking and getting the feedbacks, reviews, they came back. They started compiling them. They also started a social media campaign to reach out to their loyal customers. And in the meantime, this Knorr and Top Ramen had started trying to fill in the gap of the Maggie market. They started getting it back. So it was constant feedback, upward movement of information, communication, and they started reviewing it. And loyal new customers with new attractive packaging they came out with. They started putting some logos and some small gifts for the children in that. And they even tied up with e-commerce platforms like Snapdeal for opening a new distribution channel. Now this is called business strategy, and they acted on it. The result is known to all of us. Yeah. Okay. So I think I have already overshot my given time. So let me open the floor for any questions that you may have, any viewpoints. I will try my best to dodge them. Oh, sorry, I'll take them on. Let's keep the mics open now. Yeah, moderator, back to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Indeed, this was an enlightening session, sir. So you have explained each and every aspect of the topic so thoroughly. So now, classmates, the floor is open for the questions. Please write your questions in the chat box and I will dictate it. We will take 2 more minutes for the questions. If anyone have any query or question, please write down in the chat box. So the question comes, how can one deal with stubborn employees? Stubborn employees.
Okay. This is typical with my experience in government. I can tell you this is pretty common to see stubborn employees. Please understand, as I said, when you're talking of stubborn people, basically you're looking at the resistance to change is high in those. It's that person. Why is he stubborn? Let me give you an example to explain what I'm saying. In ministries, you have civilian employees who form unions, and the union leaders are pretty stubborn about the way they work, and most of them don't even work. They basically try and be the bridge between the management and the workers. So when we were implementing a particular IT initiative way back in 2004-5 in one of the locations, uh, it was an online system where people were multi-user online system where people were supposed to work on the system, and it was a supply chain organization, and to the indents used to come, verify them, put them in the system, and then issue the stores as required against authorization. So there is a central branch called control branch where these indents used to come, and so this gentleman who was a indent person for verification of indents, he was a union leader. He came to me and then he said, Colonel Saab, that time, yeah, I think I was, he said, Colonel Saab, ये मैं तो जनता की भलाई के लिए काम करता हूँ और उस पर बैठ के मैं पूरा ये काम करूँ दिन भर, तो मेरा भाई जो दूसरे डिपार्टमेंट में है उसकी प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करने के लिए मैं वहां जाऊंगा कैसे? तो मेरे लिए तो बहुत मुश्किल कर दिया. So, I realized that this gentleman's idea is that either I don't work and I do what I want to do in terms of Uningiri, or I should be able to do my work fast and have more time to do what I want to do. So I played on his psyche and I told him, okay, आपको दिन भर में 60 इंडेंट पास करने होते हैं ना, तो आप वो 60 डिमांड को लो अपने बगल में दबाओ, उस डिपार्टमेंट में जाओ जहाँ अपने भाई की प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करनी है, उसके कंप्यूटर में बैठ करके ये इंडेंट वेरीफाई कर दो. मल्टी यूजर ऑनलाइन सिस्टम है, आपको वहां से भी एक्सेस मिल जाएगा डाटा सेंटर का. बोला अच्छा मैं वहां पे बैठ के तो काम कर सकता हूँ, मैं अपनी कुर्सी पे मुझे बैठना जरूरी नहीं है. मैं कहा नहीं है. बोला फिर तो कोई दिक्कत ही नहीं है. And he became one of my biggest facilitator in acceptance of everyone. So answer to your query, sir, is a stubborn person will be stubborn because of a reason. You have to find out what is the reason and remove that. I hope I have answered your question. You may have a supplementary.
Yes, sir. So the next question is,
Yes,
why
next
does
question, please.
successful strategy implementation often hinge on whether the strategy formulation process empowers manager and employees?
Yeah. This is something which I actually emphasize quite a bit in my talk today. Right from beginning when the vision of the leader is getting formulated, consensus and awareness of all people who are going to get impacted is fine. When I'm making a strategy, I should not be making a strategy in my AC office in isolation. At the end of the day, we are looking at a business competitive edge in our organization, in whichever business we are. It could be consulting, it could be manufacturing, it could be retail, it could be a government office. Ultimately, you're looking at increasing the productivity or diversifying or increasing your revenue in some way. Sitting in my office, if I'm disassociated with the ground realities, I will not be able to make a implementable strategy. And that is why the strategy formulation stage, getting the managers, the employees at all levels, all stakeholders together, getting their input before I create a strategy, formulate that and announce is extremely important. It hinges on this activity of keeping everyone together right from beginning.
Ma'am, should I take 2 more questions or we come to an end?
Yes, you can take one more question, Natasha.
Okay, okay. So the next question is,
If there are any questions which are left unanswered by because of lack of time, you kindly mail it to me. I'll answer them by mail.
okay, sir. Sir, the students are also asking for the PPT as they found it very interesting. So if possible,
Okay.
you please mail us a
Doctor,
PPT.
please ask Dr. Kushwaha. I think she'll be able to help you.
Okay, okay,
Fine,
okay,
I'll
sir.
share.
So our session is incomplete without being grateful to the guests and the speakers or to all who are involved. Hence, I invite Dr. Shishma Kushwaha ma'am for a short vote of thanks to our very special chief guest. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Natasha. And thank you, sir. Thank you very much for sparing your valuable and precious time for the students and for us. And you said it very right that personal is an important aspect for the strategy implementation. And you focused upon the upward communication that is actually been missing in many of the organizations, that people do not get the feedback from their employees and from their low level management to formulate the strategy. That is very important aspect. And you talked about the change management and culture, really very important topics they are for the strategic implementation. So I thank you very much, sir, for your precious and valuable time. And then I thank our chairman, sir, Dr. Amit Gupta in absentia, for motivating us to conduct these type of activities. And then I would like to thank our HOD ma'am, Dr. Pallavi Gupta, again in absentia, to support us and guide us to for all these activities at every step. And next, I would like to thank our moderator, Ms. Mitakshara, to conduct this event very successfully. And last not but least, but I would like to thank our audience, the students, to listen it and have this all these question answer round and interacting well with us, sir. Thank you all, and thank you very much, sir, once again to spare your time. And I hope students have actually really enjoyed well. Thank you, sir.
I'm really thankful to all of you to have called me here and being able to talk to all of you. I hope I was able to at least tickle your minds towards this subject because it's quite fast. You can continue doing as much as you want, and 30-40 minutes talk may not do any justice. Hope to see all of you soon on this or any other topics that you may want to discuss with me. As I said, I love to talk to youngsters. I did one of my MBAs when I was 45 years of age, and all my co-students were in their 20s. It was a wonderful Mahuna moment. And till then, we meet again. Please do take care of your bodies, your parents, and your earth. You only have one. Please take care and keep smiling. Jai Hind.
One moment, sir. I would like to have one group photograph. So I request everyone to open up their video so that we can.
Sure.
I have taken the screenshot.
Very difficult thing to do, Dr. Kushwaha. I don't know who's wearing what.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. Students, please stay back for a while so that we can have the attendance.
All right. Take care then. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Students, please be ready for your attendance.
मैम आपने मेरी एंड वाली स्पीच तो काट ही दी.
कोई बात नहीं. Jay Sharma.
Mummy is present.
He is present. Okay. Kushagra Gupta. Kushagra Gupta. Khushbu.
Present, ma'am.
Tejaswini. Ankur.
Present, ma'am.
Jatika Batra.
Present, ma'am.
Akshita Nayan.
Present, ma'am.
Ishita Arora. Astitwa Pandey. Ishan Bhatia.
Yes, ma'am.
Tanmay Parashar.
Present, ma'am.
Haya Ashraf.
Present, ma'am.
Shivanshu Pathak. Shivanshu Pathak. Anirudh Singh.
Present, ma'am.